Okay, so a lot of people are interested in what drugs they can take to improve their memory. But something they don't often ask is, what can I do without drugs to improve my memory? Um, I think it's funny not to just bag on my classmates, but my classmates love to ask our professors, who know less than me, about what they can do for their memory. I've already told my classmates, or told the whole class, what they can do medication wise. But they like to ask professors who go, maybe if, because they don't know. I know though. And I also know how you can improve your memory without drugs. It's called, I'm going to name it right now, mental hyperlinks. Say you have a list of things. Like when I had to memorize the amounts of white blood cells. Did I just go and memorize them straight up? No. I created this one actually I did not create mental hyperlinks. I did a different technique. I guess I'll tell you that technique. It is association. Now, it's related to the mental hyperlinks, but you create it's not association, it's like funny sayings. I don't want to reveal mine because they can be a little too crude for on camera, but the cruder the better. If you are trying to memorize something and you can like turn it into something really crude that like sticks in your head, good job. You're gonna remember it a lot easier than if you want to just be boring and try to remember it straight up. So create the crudest, the funniest, the whatever associations or whatever you can do. Um, if there's numbers, who knows? Maybe you're like, well, certain type of people wake up at this time and go to bed at this time, and I don't want to give away my things I memorize because, yeah, I don't. But if you create something like that, it really helps. And now onto the mental hyperlinks. Why I call it mental hyperlinks, and I just created that term now, is because it's like a hyperlink, which is pretty cool that you can have an address. That's all you need, and it brings you to something that has so much more. Um, so if there's something you need to remember, you somehow like compress it into a smaller amount of information that is maybe related to it, or maybe it's kind of like I said before, you come up with something that just gets you to think of something else. Uh, like I said, mine are always really crude or something else, and I don't want to say what kind of things they are. But you come up with some sort of a connection between the material and the thing, and maybe you take 5% of it and you create an association with something else. But you have to like remember enough to do with each of those things that once you can remember that 5%, all of a sudden you can remember all of it. Now, I'm not saying our minds are perfect. My mind's not perfect. I can't remember everything in the entire world. But I have a pretty good memory. This next thing I'm going to mention, I don't know if it helps my memory or maybe I'm just brilliant. I know I'm brilliant, but maybe I'm just brilliant with other strategies. Um, but something I've done, and I used to joke, I joked when I was in high school in my freshman year. I had chemistry class, and I was always asleep. Oh, in Spanish class, I was always asleep too. In most of my classes, I was always asleep. But I really I did well in all my classes, but I liked chemistry, I liked Spanish class. And chemistry class, I remember I'd be asleep, and the professor or teacher would call on me. I don't remember the whole sequence of events, but one day someone was saying something about how I'm always asleep, and I joked, yeah, it's my secret technique. I go into a subconscious state to absorb all the information. But the funny thing is, and this happened in Spanish class, and it's happened in a physiology class at medical university, I remember especially in Spanish class, I'd be asleep, and the teacher would call on me. She'd call on me because I'm asleep. She wanted me to, wake up and, I don't know, what'd you say? she'd call on me, and like as I'm waking up and opening my eyes, I would just blurt something out. And it was the correct response. Same thing in physiology class. I remember one day recently, like a month ago, I'm asleep, and I was kind of in that sub-asleep space where it's like you want to wake up, but you're in that, I forget what it's called. Hypo... I don't know, it's when you're bobbing up and down and you can't wake up, but you can kind of hear what's going on. Like your brain's not working right, you can't really think about things. But the professor said something, and she didn't even ask me the question. I just heard it. Well, I didn't like consciously hear it, but I subconsciously heard it. For some reason, I said something. I don't know what I said. And the professor was like, "Yeah, you're correct. I said it before I even woke up enough to know what I'm saying." So who knows? Maybe you can also enter a semi-sleep state to absorb information. Not saying it works, but there does seem to be something to it. Even my classmates are surprised that you sleep all class. How can you know this stuff? How can you not sleep all class and know this stuff? I don't know, maybe we don't need to be awake to learn stuff. Of course, we know how the brain works. We know that even when you're not fully conscious, you can take in information, but typically you do want to be awake. So let's recap. There are like direct associations, and then there are the associations that help you open up a big package. I'll call them mental hyperlinks. Any of the associations, the more crude they are, the more funny they are, the more whatever they are, the better you're going to remember them. You don't want to be like, leukocytes. 4 to 9 times 10 to the ninth is somebody waking up to go to work at 4 in the morning, and then they go to sleep at 9 at night. That's boring. And it's per liter. But you're not going to remember it if you come up with something boring like that, but let me try to think of something I can say on camera. I can't think of anything I can say on camera. I probably could say it on camera, but I don't want to, because also it would give away some of the ways I think. I don't want people to know exactly how I think. So yeah, I hope you like this video. Hope it helps you out. Yes, of course, there are medications like dopamine or norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors, releasers, agonists, acetylcholinesterase inhibitors, choline uptake enhancers, NMDA receptor agonists. Yes, there are lots of medications, but you don't need medications. Get a good night's sleep, have a proper diet, get enough amino acids, get enough choline, and create these associations, and for big amounts of information, manage to somehow put it in a hyperlink to open it up. Please like, subscribe, and comment. It costs you nothing, and maybe it will help me out someday. Check out my other videos. Hopefully they can help you. Goodbye.